Nuggets fans. Let's go!
Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
We are coming to you from Dude IDK Studios on a wonderful and actually eventful trade deadline. I'm drinking some Liquid Death.
Mm-hmm.
This is the classic Liquid Death, the one that they started out with regular water. Jacob, what do you got?
I have the green guillotine, the green guillotine.
Sure.
Green tea, agave, and vitamins.
They should hire us to write names for these.
Yes.
I would call it like Green Massacre or Green Holocaust or something.
Yes.
All right, Jacob, it is a trade deadline. I'd say this time last week when we recorded, we were very much planning on nothing happening throughout the league. And since then, it's been a flurry of activity. Where shast we start? The big one, the ones today, our own team. A lot to pick from.
Let's start with the Nuggets and then do the big one, I feel like. I think so, just kind of to not bury the lead, but the Nuggets did nothing. And I think we've been talking about how that might have definitely been our preferred route, I guess.
I think so.
Today I did get, there was a thing about them being interested in Chris Boucher from the Raptors, which I did get excited about.
Yeah.
So that was a little disappointed they didn't do anything. But if that was like, I don't know, I think I would still rather keep Watson. I'd keep CB for sure. I might entertain Strother a little bit, but still that's rough. And then I bet that's probably like Strother in a first round pick probably.
I'm not on board with any of that.
Okay.
Especially CB and Peyton. But
I said no to those guys.
No,
Yeah,
I know, but I'm saying that's where my head was this whole time. I actually, and look where we are. We're still fourth, and we're I think only a game and a half behind. Houston's been fumbling the ball, so we're in such a great position. Everybody that made moves is below us, except for everybody that made moves is below us.
Yeah. So while a busy trade deadline, I think overall, you're kind of right about like who is making moves. Kind of weird moves today. I feel like
Cavs made a random move that didn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean it's kind of DeAndre Hunter would have been great for the Nuggets too, but he's gonna be good on the Cavs. But
I think the Nuggets are. I was looking at the money situation. The Nuggets are only one of like a half dozen teams that are in the second apron.
Yeah,
I didn't realize how fucked we were on that. I thought there were a lot more teams, but it's like us, Celtics, Warriors, like all the other teams that I guess makes sense that they are.
Yeah,
I was surprised by that.
Yeah, the new CBA has really changed the game, as it were. So it is interesting, but yeah, there's a lot of dump moves, right? There's a lot of salary dump moves happening. Looks like the Grizzlies just dumped Marcus Smart for like nothing.
He hasn't played,
which is interesting. Yeah. But,
I think since he moved there.
Ultimately the Nuggets keep the same. I think the backup from Jokic is always kind of funny a little bit, like the backup five, because especially in the playoffs, that's the least minutes role player on the team. So, like, whatever. If you have to do AG in there for a couple minutes, that's fine. If you want to do DJ, they can go, like foul six people.
Put Zeke in there for and who's been playing well.
We're in the middle of a little Zeke renaissance.
I'm into it, man.
Yeah.
I told you last night at the game that I never totally sold on. I think there are points where he definitely has cost too much money.
Yes.
But he has the size. I think when you're that size and built that way, you kind of hopefully figure it out, but he's also been in the league for 5 years now, which is crazy to think about. 5 years? Does that sound right?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's right.
No, but yeah, I mean, being put in the situation, he just hasn't had any playing time.
Yeah.
So if he's starting games and playing well, that's a huge deal.
Yeah. So I guess that's enough too to kind of, it did seem like maybe they were auditioning him a little bit for trades and stuff, which is great. But I do think that he did well enough to just be like, well, might as well just keep him, and nobody wants him really anyway still, so probably. But shout out Zeke Naji, shout out the Denver Nuggets not doing anything. Should we talk about the trade?
Sure, absolutely.
Cool. Let me check cameras. Do a plug. Do an ad read.
Okay. Come, you know what? I would just say check us out on YouTube still. Smash that like and subscribe button. Give us a review on where you get your podcast episodes, whatever that looks like. Come to Goodnight Denver. We'll be plugging that at the end, of course. Is this going to come out before then? Probably not. Well, thank you for coming out to Goodnight Denver. It was a good show. And Dude IDK Studios, always putting up the best. Some I would say some news coming out of here. Unless everybody knows already. It doesn't really matter. Jacob, you're back.
Yes.
How do the cameras look?
Good. You look great.
Awesome.
Do you feel great?
I wonder if there's anybody who's like, yeah, I don't really like the podcast, but I do watch on YouTube every single week.
We have some videos with more views than listens for sure. So look at we're getting in there.
Please, if you like watching us, let us know. I can't stand my voice. Yeah. Jacob always had a nice voice. There was a big trade.
Yes.
Some would say the biggest.
Yeah.
Maybe most monumental in the history of this great game we've had.
I would agree, probably.
I think so too.
I got off a stage at Looney's Comedy Corner in Colorado Springs. Shout out Looney's.
Could have plugged them. Yeah.
But they and then I had a bunch of texts, mostly about like what the fuck texts and stuff like that.
Nothing like, hey, great job, great set, and
I had a lot of family.
It was your wife,
too.
Just like, hey, just to remind you, I love you.
Nope, nothing like that.
Yeah,
she was hosting, so that would have been good too. Though that would have been nice to have.
Yeah.
But shout out Amy Miller, by the way, too. Shout outs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your initial reaction, Noah?
Well, it's one of those things. This has happened to me on several occasions where a big major event occurs right as I'm kind of letting loose for the evening, if you know what I mean. By letting loose, by the way, it's nothing gross. I mean getting drunk or drinking at home, which people know I do. I think it's okay. Everybody in every other country does it. So I forgot what I was watching. Oh, you know what I was watching? The Master. I was rewatching The Master.
Cool.
And I got a text from you and Lane and then another group chat, maybe two others, that just said Luka to the Lakers. I was like, LOL. And then I immediately, and this is the thing I love about news and breaking news, I turned on ESPN and watched that for the next hour and a half. And just Kendrick Perkins being like, I'm not going to do his voice, but like everybody's getting out of bed and it's the late night ESPN crew that doesn't know how the fuck to do anything. And it's really fun.
Yeah.
So a late night big moment is always fun for me, especially on a weekend.
What I have we go through many conspiracy theories, but ultimately
I have a few too. Yeah.
One, let's just say like, great for Shams to have a trade of this
in his first year.
Yes, in his
first
year
big year solo ISOing.
So
okay,
yes.
I like that one. I haven't heard that one yet.
I just kind of made that up on the spot.
No, that's good. I think there's smoke.
Yeah, there's smoke there, but also how funny he had to be like, no, this is real, and then it felt like we had to wait for other people to be like, yeah, this is happening, and then. To me, watching all...
We haven't even said the trade yet, I just realized.
Luka Doncic got traded to the... it's funny to allude to it like it's Voldemort and never say what it is.
And it's also been so many days, it's felt like forever, even though it's been less than a week.
So this isn't an instant reaction from us. We're about
Well, it's an instant reaction for us on this podcast.
Yes, but we are like 6 days out from it or something like that.
Yeah, people have... Yeah. And by the way, I don't think people have really... change their opinion of like what the fuck has happened.
Yeah, and that's what I think I was gonna like. The more details that come out, it's like it's also like, oh, this makes less and less sense.
Or how about the trades that ended up happening after that, and the what teams gave up for certain players, and I mean this was a wild several days in terms of. I mean, what did Zach LaVine get? Like he got at least a first round. Herder. Like, are you kidding me?
That deal is so complicated. I don't even know what it means. You know what I mean? Like, there's like 100 moving parts to that. So it's like basically that. And even if even the deal for Mark, what's his name?
Williams.
Mark Williams. He even had 2 draft picks in there and got a trade swap and stuff. So that's more draft equity.
This is what I mean. There's just no sense unless it comes down to incompetence.
Yes.
I said Luka probably slept with Nico Harrison's or the owner's wife.
Yes, that's a fun conspiracy too. Let's mark that one too.
Okay, cool. That is actually my main one.
There was one tweet about Nico Harrison's wife loving Luka, and at some point referring to him as Luka Harrison.
Let's go. Okay.
So that's not. I don't know. I don't think it's totally.
Let's not aggregate it.
I mean, I think people.
I could potentially be right. I 100% could be right.
Fooled by a parody account.
No, I'm sure.
I'm tying one off.
Listen, we know that I have the journalistic acumen to be able to make calls like that. The other things I've heard are Luka has like a drinking problem, which could be crazy. Mm-hmm. I never thought of that. I knew he liked his libations and picadillos. And then what was? Oh, the other one was that Nico Harrison was drunk and was just actually blackout drunk and texted his good friend Rob Pelinka and then didn't realize until the morning.
Well, now I like that one.
Okay.
But now more details come out about how long him and Pelinka have been talking about it, which is still insane. I mean, every detail. What is the most surprising detail to you? Because I think even just me just being like, the Mavericks offered Luka first. Is like the most.
It has to be, right? I mean, that has to be the most.
That's so crazy. Or not shopping him around, right?
Right. Those go hand in hand. I think a lot of this kind of. I mean, you could pick out the specifics, but yeah, I would say how little they got.
Yeah.
I think the package is kind of the most shocking thing, considering where the market has been for mediocre players in the NBA. But I think the big thing is just like, the fact that the Dallas Mavericks would ever put him up.
I feel insane about this trade.
Yeah.
I feel like I've read a bunch of internet stuff about it now, and it's not good for me. And have you seen this thing about the Saudi Arabian League thing?
No.
There was some.
You're deep in it. You're way deeper than I am.
So deep in this.
I've been doing a lot of podcasts in the main lamestream media. I haven't quite done the Twitter. I'm off Twitter, people. Is this Twitter stuff?
Yeah, probably for sure.
It's Twitter stuff.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, just give them
a. But just to tell you, like, there was some things about maybe possibly a Saudi Arabian league forming, and then they throwing like a bunch of money at Luka to be like their face, and somehow the Mavs found that out and then wanted to get rid of him. So that could he could still possibly leave the Lakers and just go make like 10 times
$1 billion a year.
Yeah. To be like the face of Saudi Arabia's basketball league or something like that. And then also the Nike, there's a Nike thing out there a little bit.
Well, between Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison. Yeah, well, what is
just Nike just wants Luka in a bigger market, basically, and just kind of pushing that way. I mean, that's probably just what they would prefer anyway. I don't know. I mean, that's not even a conspiracy, I guess.
It does seem. I mean, just because of how astonishing it is, it feels like there's something else. Kind of like, September 11th. Mm-hmm. You know how we all know that something else was going on, even though nothing was officially said. It feels kind of like this is like 9/11.
It feels like that. It's like, when's the second tower gonna hit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even more like when is this? Yeah, I can't think of one. Okay. I can't think of one.
I guess the point. I think the most surprising is the not shopping around and not like. He's checking any other teams. Like on Bill Simmons' podcast, he has the trade power rankings or whatever, right?
I was going to reference that.
So Luka was what, 2 or 3?
3. I think it went Wemby, Jokic,
Luka. Okay, so by that, and then Anthony Davis was like 11th, right?
Yeah,
or
maybe
something like that?
Yeah, maybe lower, but yeah.
Okay, so that's like not. I mean, they're different tiers, so it feels very weird. But that's not too bad. I mean, but you don't call any 3 through 11 to see if they were into it. Like, I don't know. Do you think Milwaukee thinks about Giannis at all? I mean, you could probably have a conversation.
Well, that's what has kind of turned things around is that, and they were talking, there's a conversation with Ant, and Ant was like, it doesn't make sense. I'm scared now. Nobody is safe, truly.
Do you think Minnesota does that? Do you think they give up Ant for Luka? Probably.
Yeah. I think unless you're you know what? Luka might have, because Shea's up there. I think Shea is either 3 or 4.
Well, it's interesting to think about because it's also like disrupting your team right now, right? You're pretty much just saying fuck this year.
Oh yeah, that's not what this move was.
No, I know.
Yeah.
So like while Shea probably doesn't have more value, I don't think the Thunder get rid of Shea just to like mess up their team right now. You know what I mean? Like
correct, because
yes.
Lakers. Well, but that's the thing. Lakers are 5th or 6th, and then the difference between 6th and 12th is like a game and a half, 2 games. So they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, now they're saying fuck this season.
Yeah.
Kind of, but they might prove us all wrong. They could go on just a gigantic run. I don't really see it happening, but I'm just kind of dumbfounded. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think that's just the part that is going to be forever feel like a weird thing. Like, there's just no reason to not check around and only go to the Lakers. I mean, if you only want Anthony Davis, I guess. But that seems so weird. And ironically, the Mavericks are more equipped to defend Jokic now.
Yes.
And they're going to be the best team against Jokic, which is so funny.
Yeah.
So, like, that's like a scary matchup for just Denver now. But then the Lakers are still going to be pretty bad against Jokic, which is, fine. So, from a Nuggets fan perspective, very interesting moves. But, you still have to go through Luka probably either way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think it changes a lot. I mean, I guess I could see the Mavs giving them a little more issues now than they would, which is kind of interesting. But against any other teams, I don't think so.
Do you think they do if the conversation was Luka Jokic straight up?
No.
Right.
I don't think the Nuggets do it. I don't think. Yeah, I think the Nuggets say no. The Spurs say no to Wemby.
And OKC
says no to Shea. Now, like, do you think the Celtics do anything? Because, like, they
keep Tatum.
They keep the whole team. I don't think Tatum's as valuable, but they
which
keep
is
the whole
crazy because they were in the finals last year and won the finals when Dallas was the other team in the final.
Yeah.
You see, because all of these things stacked up upon each other make it so much more interesting and confusing.
And the very public comments about his weight and stuff is very weird. I mean, I know they've had stuff like that all the time, like concerns about it or whatever, and frankly, Jokic's career was much better when he got a little more in shape, right? For sure.
Totally.
So, like, I don't think that's like a non-issue or anything,
right.
But to say that and be in the finals last year is like so insane.
It's insane.
It's just so crazy.
I mean, they were on some podcasts. I'm not gonna shout them out because I don't remember which. I've been listening to a bunch.
Yeah.
That's the thing about us, Jacob, is we do a podcast, but we're also fans.
That's right. Your guys we fucked you're listening to.
Exactly. Oh, is that still going on?
I don't know.
Jesus Christ, they could sell out any club in the country. Shout out to them. We hope you're well. I was going to say...
Nico Harrison's number 1.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that somebody on some podcast was like, Luka could smoke a pack of cigarettes before he gets on court. At this point, it wouldn't matter, which I tend to agree with.
And you got to keep in mind he has like just a different upbringing in a different
country.
Let's
do that. It is a different culture. Let's go with that one. Same with Embiid. That's why he's a fucking slow schlub. He's lived in the United States almost his whole life, but it's the culture.
But U.S. citizen. Playing for the U.S. team. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
It just still confounds me. I don't know.
You don't think we'll ever find out like the real answer?
I feel like no. I feel like the real answer is that Nico Harrison kind of got played by his friend, or he just got. To me, it's just a survivor like deal or no deal island. He got just fleeced. I mean, did you hear the things about like the deal was more? Like it was Austin Reeves and stuff, and he talked him down because he's being like, yeah, we're concerned about Luka's thing. And then you listen to him now, and he's like, no, Luka's the future of the franchise now. It's like
for 10 years, for like a decade or more, the Lakers have their guy.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to get into the whole thing of how the Lakers always get what they want.
I mean, it's insane.
Here's the thing. Why I'm more curious of it if it's Nico Harris getting fleeced or. Because the thing of them going to the Lakers and not having anybody else meant that they wanted to get rid of Luka. Yeah. And basically whatever was going to be like offered that they were going to make it happen. Mm-hmm. So they knew that. I mean, I'm sure they knew that there were other better offers. That it would have been Luka getting traded would have been the biggest haul of any team in terms of assets.
I just like you don't even get some first round picks. Like it's not even like a traditional like trade like this where like you're not even in the Cooper Flag business or anything.
Right. Yeah.
Like
right.
you don't want to get the new AD.
Yeah.
Or anything.
I mean, OKC got their whole next future in the next 15 years after trading Paul George, who ended up going to the Clippers and not really playing well and then leaving the Clippers. What do you got there?
I was trying to look up the trade values ranking real quick.
I actually think I might have that right here.
Okay.
I actually thought I actually did top 100 player rankings. Trade value rankings.
Okay,
got it.
Good. Okay. Yes.
What are you looking for?
Just what's after Luka? Just go down the list.
Yeah. I got it. Hold on.
It's great podcasting.
I know. It's this isn't a different thing that it's the tiers are different than group O, group N. Maybe we go down to
this
group
dead
A.
air is
Wemby,
brought to you by NASA.
Wemby is number 1.
Yes.
Nicole, I forgot your question already.
After Luka.
Jokic 2, Shea 3, Luka 4,
Luka's
Tatum,
4. Okay.
Giannis
doesn't
Ant.
trade. Okay, so Giannis I think thinks about it. I think Milwaukee thinks about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can't. They did the worst. They did a terrible move getting Kyle Kuzma, who's had a terrible year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, want to be a Kuzma guy, and he's like so bad. I don't even know why. I just kind of like his build.
Annoying. Okay.
Is that weird? Yeah, that's weird.
It is kind of weird.
Whatever.
I forgot some of these. Some of these are interesting to me.
What's after
Because I
that?
think you're right. Well, here's an interesting one.
Okay.
Actually, never mind. That's an easy. Jalen Brunson for Luka, straight up. Not straight up even, but the Knicks would get Luka.
Yeah, you probably just put Luka in New York and you say fuck it, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly what you do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. There's not really anyone else. I think Ant.
Because the Knicks aren't good enough to just like be like we can't break up anybody. I mean, maybe they wouldn't. I mean, he's kind of I don't know. I think they talk about it and do it for sure. And I think
that's actually an interesting one, don't you think?
Yeah,
because the Knicks are on.
It's pretty close.
And it's not like MSG ever needs people in seats.
Yeah,
that place is always just gonna chug out.
But what is AD on there too?
Oh, good question. 11.
11.
Nailed it.
Okay, cool.
Which actually surprises me. He's above Evan Mobley, and above Devin Booker. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's so weird.
Yeah. So it's just gonna be. I mean, the Laker part of it's so hard. It's just like they just are always gonna have a superstar like that or something. It's weird. I mean, they had a bad run with Kobe and stuff where they were really bad, for a while. So like there's stuff, but yeah, it's just kind of.
I actually am not thinking about that too much because it's just like okay, sure. I don't know. Because now it's like I actually do love Luka a lot.
Yeah.
But now I was gonna say there's a big enemy now, and I don't want that to be Luka, but it is the Luka Lakers.
Yeah, it's the Luka Lakers now. He's heel turning.
It is crazy.
And by force.
He's 25 years old.
And that's the other. Everything from Luka seems genuine. That he had no idea. It doesn't seem like he was gonna sign. He bought a house, I guess, or whatever.
I think it's
Crazy.
an affair. Yeah.
It has to be something weird. Something must have gone down.
Oh, some theories. I'll just throw a few more out there. Luka is funding Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
Luka is funding Israel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard. Yeah, Luka's part of Dodge or whatever.
Yes, I heard that. Yeah, that Elon Musk actually made this move happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It is crazy that considering all in the world, this is why sports is such a great equalizer and can take you away from things. Because I haven't cared much about the goings on of democracy much this week, except for the democracy of who's gonna win the title.
One more Luka thing I'm interested in. Then we'll move on. Mark Cuban not being the owner anymore.
Yeah.
Very interesting because I don't think he would ever be close to doing this or anything.
No.
And did you see his comment about it? They reached out to him, and he was just like, "No comment. That's not my team anymore." And that was it, which says a lot, actually. But it's like, that must be heartbreaking as Mark Cuban. I mean, I hate to be. I mean, I guess he's a billionaire.
Well, I actually this
sucks.
this is a part that I wanted to go into, which is our reaction to if this had occurred to us.
Yes.
I was going through Mavs Reddit, and shout out to our Mavs people and listeners, and the great beautiful city of Dallas. Of course, it's where
hope this pod's reaching your horse ears.
Yeah, that's right. You're all horses.
Yes.
The city in which JFK was murdered. And then you got some other stuff. But yeah,
This was the second shot heard around the world.
It was, at least. I bet it was the first. Of course, you're referencing the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, not that shot.
Anyway, the response online from the Mavs fans was such tragedy and such... Yes. It's hard to put it into words. Sadness, desperation. Like, truly, like... it's hard. None of this is sarcastic. I would feel the same way. It's like a family member and somebody was ripped away from you.
So, to me, this would be like if Jokic got traded 2 years ago before winning the championship, right? So, like, it would destroy me so much to be like pretty close too. If they had like a run similar, if they were in the finals and then they got rid of Jokic, I would be so upset.
By the way, what would be the equivalent, right? What if they got rid of Jokic for Anthony Davis?
Yeah,
would that have been?
If they just did that, I mean, yeah, I would. It would be insane.
That still even seems no. If you're just talking trade value from what I just read, it's more ridiculous. But from a longevity standpoint, 25 years old.
Yeah. I think even now, let's say now, so I think it's a little less just because they have a championship, but I would still, definitely be at Ball Arena throwing shit around.
Well, so
I would not, I would lose my season tickets by just arson-y.
Okay.
Or burning down Ball Arena.
That is what you would go in and make a fuss.
Yes, I would.
And then be able to, would you light yourself on fire outside of Ball Arena?
I would, yes. Actually, I would rather like starve myself in front of.
Okay, I would actually do that with you.
Yeah, we go on a hunger strike
chain ourselves. To the Rocky statue.
Yes, we chain ourselves to the Rocky.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that would work.
Would you do that with me?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If it was an identical situation.
Yes.
You would go on a hunger strike with me.
Yes, in front of
Ball Arena at the Rocky statue. Okay, that's great. Yeah. That's actually cool. I'm getting excited. So longevity-wise, are you still a fan of the NBA? Are you switching team? So, because like Dallas and LA don't have like a history, right? So, what would be a non?
Well, here's the funny thing. I think is that this is This doesn't hurt the NBA in any way, in my opinion. I don't like. I know people are gonna be like,
"Who thought it was gonna hurt the NBA?"
No, I mean, I just think like people who are like threatening to stop watching the NBA and stuff. Those people weren't watching the NBA. Those were people who were just following online and keeping up. With
you
the
think
NBA.
like the Mavs fans that have season tickets that were
they're
posting online?
Yeah,
they're
gonna be gone.
I'm gonna not watch basketball anymore.
Only Mavs fans, but I think the hype that the trade has built already. It took over Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
I guess the Super Bowl is kind of historically boring and not interesting right now.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So kind of weird, but I do think Luka on the Lakers. That's another why it's so open to conspiracies. Is great for the NBA. And I think
in a league that has been bitch moaning, complaining about their ratings.
Yes.
Which I don't put a lot of credence into. The NBA is still clearly the second most popular sport in this country.
And not to go off on a rating thing, but ratings are so shit everywhere.
Right.
That any ratings is like great. They just want live programming that people need to use TV for.
The metric for any other ratings is the National Football League, which every single person watches out of patriotic obligation in this country.
Yeah.
So
and every sports bar just throws up because they don't want to put on anything else.
Yeah, because it's on one of the three main channels.
And it's not political. It's clean. I mean, hypothetically clean. You see some guy die on Monday Night Football or whatever.
Yeah, the rating. We haven't really talked about the whole ratings bitching, but yeah, I don't care.
Oh, it doesn't matter. They already signed the TV deals.
Right.
Like that's what you need ratings for is to sign the TV deals. If people want to advertise on it still, it doesn't matter.
I still going back to my thing. Do you give up basketball? Do you switch to the team that Jokic is now on? Is it I mean those I guess are the two. Or do you keep rooting for the Nuggets, I guess, in just kind of like an acceptance after tragedy?
No, I feel like I would just stop. Like I would just be done. I mean, especially if Jokic was on the Lakers.
Well, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
In this scenario, Jokic would move to
following him. Right. Yeah. I mean, I doubt me following him anyway.
I think you made a good point, which is in this scenario, Jokic is several years younger and has not necessarily won it, but is currently.
Well, the no championship is a huge difference.
Also, MVPs. You know,
because I feel like I could kind of eventually come back and be like, well, he gave us all the MVPs. He was the best Nuggets player already ever. Like even 2 years ago, probably for sure.
It took me a while to get over Carmelo. And that whole thing.
Yeah.
It was by no means as dramatic or as just heartbreaking, but
yeah,
it took me out of basketball for a little bit.
I kind of feel like I would be like what I am now to the Rockies, where I used to really love the Rockies. I used to keep score in high school.
Oh my God.
You know, and now I could give a shit. I don't know who they have really.
Get on the Rockies with me this year. Okay. They're on Fubo. All of their games are on Fubo.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of endearing because I don't hold a lot of kinship to that team, but it's kind of fun to have a shitty team. I still like their hats and colors and shit.
Speaking of Fubo, should we talk about the
Fubo? Yeah.
Altitude finally came to an agreement with Xfinity. Is
that
correct? Do you know about what?
Yes, I actually watched the press conference because it interrupted my recording of a Nuggets game that I tend to watch morning afters.
Yeah.
It was, man, it's just like at this point, almost every single person in this city has found a way around and has been anyone who really wants to watch it has been able to watch it in some way. So at this point, I like to think this is going to be, maybe we see it more out in public. Maybe bars are more willing or going to be more able to do it. But like this has been how long? 5 years?
Yeah.
It's certainly around the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel good about it. Yeah. I think it's kind of a like too late kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, shout out to my mom and my grandma who can now watch the games. So
yeah.
That'd be great. But I think you do have to upgrade to a sports thing.
Great. Well, shout out to all the elderly people who still have cable. You can now watch the show. I mean, it's so ridiculous they do this too after the big launch of their Altitude Plus.
Yeah,
app.
They have an app now, and then
like go fuck yourself. The guy who was I've watched him a few times be interviewed, who's like the head of marketing or head of television. He's just such a nerd dweeb bitch. Mm-hmm. And I know it's not maybe his fault, but this whole thing was such a clusterfuck from the beginning. And eat shit, Cronkies. Yeah. I know they didn't get us a championship. Michael Malone and Nikola Jokic got us a championship.
Yeah. What do you think about Malone? He the other day said we're not trading MPJ,
Yes.
But he said it with such confidence that I'm like, all right, maybe he's the whole system, Maybe Michael Malone's the whole thing.
I mean, listen, we're coming to you less than 24 hours after a 39-point performance from Michael Porter Jr.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, how MPJ is not more than 25, is he?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's around there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another point to why the Nuggets stayed pat. Shout out Chef Pat.
Yes. Patrick Dawson, his Christian name.
That is a good point. Mike has played really great since the rumors came out about him being traded, maybe. And so I think everyone's happy in their current situation right now. So that's great.
I agree. Yeah. I said that from the beginning. Well, I said I didn't want to entertain anything from the beginning. But yes, after the whispers came out, Mike has been on kind of a tear, and good for him. I hope that's motivation. And I think the fact we didn't do anything in this trade window kind of inspires confidence and not the opposite. I don't know about you. Because really our thing is health. And I think no. As I'm saying that, there's actually a lot of other things that are obviously factors. But if everybody is healthy, I think that puts us in a better position than any of the teams that made some of these moves.
Yeah, not much depth, like I was saying. That's what happens with these injuries. It seems like very thin. So
Hunter Tyson getting some time, and yet all of these guys are playing not terribly.
No. Had a great rundown steal thing.
Yeah, that ended up being 0.1 second on the shot clock anyway.
Yeah, so
they're playing for their futures every single time they're out there.
Yeah, that's true. Shout out Jalen Pickett.
Yes.
No one played well enough to get traded, but that's all right.
That's all right.
That's all right. CB has played great since being kind of benched, which is surprising fashion.
But not benched, not for any performance reason.
No.
Right?
No, just for fit reasons.
Right, because Russ was doing his thing and was really on a momentum thing. And man, putting CB back in the lineup, I hope it's because I think it really was not had nothing to do with performance. It was just keeping what working currently. But yeah, CB back in the starting lineup has worked great. He's right back where he left off. He had a bad December, and that's basically so far his only bad month.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I think when Russ comes back, he'll probably come off the bench just because of his injury, and then that's kind of how it's going to go probably.
Do that until the playoffs.
Yeah, probably. Peyton Watson's going to miss some extended time.
Saw that, reevaluated in a month, they said. So that's
pretty bad.
Really not good.
He's definitely a guy who needs some time probably to ramp up for the playoffs, things like that. But ultimately, we'll see. Definitely been the Nuggets' best defender this year.
Fuck.
So that is definitely concerning. But
it's time for AG to really kind of step up in all facets, I think, currently of his. He has clearly not been 100% since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But he has not. He's been kind of fucked with inside, which is his best defense.
Yeah.
But
I will say if they were really concerned about Watson, maybe they do the Boucher thing.
Okay.
Trade today or like a Nance thing today, but they didn't. So maybe
Nance would have been kind
he should be okay. I would have loved that.
How much money does he make?
I don't know, but that would have been really cool.
I don't think he makes.
He would have played so much. Malone would love him so much.
How old is he too? He's one of those guys. You look him up and you realize, like, you could have told me he's 35 and he's actually 27 or something just because he played so long. Yeah. I think Monte Morris or Will Barton was one of those guys I found out recently that is actually younger than 30, but has been around for so long. Anyway, I don't understand.
Well, any other trade deadline moves you want to talk about, Noah?
I don't know, Jimmy. Do we care? And let me just say this: does this Luka AD does this move the needle for them? Either of those teams this year, in the sense of threatening the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals.
This year, I mean, it's so hard because against the series against Luka, it has to be a little bit concerning, right? Just in general, because he could just win the series. So, I think, but they had to play Luka either way. So, I don't think anything changes really. But I do think next year, I mean, Lakers are in a spot to kind of build off of it maybe and be better next year. So I'm thinking next year more threatening. I don't think the Mavs are going to be good enough. I think that's a lot on these secondary players to. I mean, you have to have Dinwiddie play well every time, probably. You have to have a lot.
Dwight Powell still on that team?
Yeah,
he has maintained. Good for Dwight Powell because he's kind of
maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I think so.
I hope he's who I'm thinking of with the face.
Yeah, Dwight Powell.
He was in the Adam Sandler movie.
And they have AD, who's always, as much as the Nuggets have beat him in the playoffs, he's still not the worst Jokic matchup ever. And then now he does have centers with him, so he doesn't even have to be around. So I like their front court a lot against Jokic too. So, I mean, I think that's a rougher series, weirdly. Now, but I don't think any of that changes. I mean, you still just have to get over this OKC hump for everyone that I think is just not obtainable at this point. Chet's going to come back this week.
Yeah.
And just adding that maybe might be good, just to be a little more. I don't know. They're so athletic and they're so long. Like, to have Chet out there who's like not as athletic a little bit may be good, for Nuggets purposes. But
a lot of games left.
I don't think any other moves really move the needle. The Raptors are buying low with Ingram, which is kind of funny and weird. Bruce Brown might be a buyout candidate. I don't think so, but
don't you think he's too good for that?
Probably, but he keeps on being just kind of.
I know
traded
it kind of breaks my
nothing.
heart. Really, I would have loved to have seen him never leave the Pacers.
So, I mean, I would look out for that. The Nuggets will probably try to swing for the fences with another buyout person and see if they could squeeze out.
When was the last time our buyout guy?
Never. But I mean,
no, I'm just saying. I wasn't trying to push back at you. Or anything.
But
I mean, we're talking. DJ wasn't buyout guy, was he?
No, no. He signed in the offseason. But yeah, it's just we'll see who is around. Maybe if there's any other backup five that can play like 3 minutes. Get Anderson Varejão's corpse out there and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, PJ Tucker or something like that. He got traded like twice, so he'd probably get bought out or something. Schroeder just got bought out.
I saw that 5 times.
After saying it was like modern day slavery.
He said that?
Yeah, and then he got traded. He said the trade deadline was like modern day slavery.
Well,
that's how
listen,
we're going to
bookend
the podcast.
I don't want to get into that so much as I just want to tell people to follow us on Instagram at NuggetsPod. You do the TikTok
at Chicken and the Nuggets Pod.
Yeah,
I think.
And YouTube, just Google. Oh well, it's on the Dude IDK.
Yep.
Studios.
IDK Studios.
What
YouTube.
else? Anything to plug?
I think that's it. Let us know your thoughts about the Luka trade.
Yeah, continue to
conspiracy theories.
Yeah, come up to us at games, at home games. Say that you like us out loud to your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Say it to us in person. Just kind of all of this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, live long and prosper, of course, as Dr. Spock once said.
That's right. Shout out El Gus Ray.
Yes, right?
Mm-hmm. Just in general.
Yeah, and he's doing great stuff.
He was supposed to be here today, but he just didn't come.
Didn't come again. But thank you anyway for your support, and thank you, Jacob. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Noah. Okay, bye.
Bye.